Man, it feels good to be home. We are back in Blacksburg, Virginia, here at Lane Stadium. Week 2 of Season 2, the home opener for the Hokies, as we are set to face off against the Thundering Herd of Marshall University. This will be our only game in today's episode. I know at the end of the last one I said that there's going to be a doubleheader. There is a good reason for the fact that there is only one game today. So I've been trying to figure out how I'm going to format the start of Season 2 of this series, obviously tying everything in with the Browns franchise on Madden 26. And I want to time it to where neither series gets too far ahead of the other. So I think the best way to do that is, at least for right now, to do one game per episode over here, to put more emphasis on each individual week. But in order to keep things going along here with Virginia Tech, there will be a larger quantity of uploads. So what I mean by that is, rather than waiting 4 or 5 days in real life for the next episode, it'll be more like 2 or 3 days until the next episode of the series is up. That way we'll continue to move relatively fast along. Another reason is that the Maryland game in week 3 ended up being absolutely nuts, so I wanted to give it its own video. So that was part of it as well. Anyway, week 1, in the last episode, we headed on the road to face off against the reigning national champion Texas Tech Red Raiders, and we almost won, if not for an impressive fourth quarter comeback by the reigning college football playoff MVP Colin Westwood, who did throw 2 interceptions. Our run defense, though, really struggled. Mark Armstrong was the star of this show. He had a rushing score over 100 yards on the ground, and he had the game-winning receiving touchdown as well. A revenge game for Armstrong. He left us last offseason in the portal, and he outplays our shiny new toy at running back in Chris Mickens. Now, we did shut down their top 2 receivers, Elvis Phantom and Will Sara, only combined for 7 catches for 57 yards. But our offense didn't do enough. The 2 guys in the middle, Jesus Roos and Denario Lasco, were unblockable, combining for 8 TFLs and 3.5 sacks. I think both of these guys could be top 10 picks in this year's draft. They've got the athletic traits, they've got the size, they'll both be only 21 years old as rookies, and the production is really exciting. Ace Morgan, the redshirt freshman, won the starting job, made his debut, and it was certainly up and down. Started off hot, but his last 6 passes were incomplete, and he got sacked 6 times. It looked like he had no clue what he was doing under pressure. Now, to be fair, we played against 2 potential top 10 picks in the middle of the Texas Tech defensive line, and we're not going to play a defensive front quite like that the rest of the year. So I am hopeful that Morgan will look better. He had some really impressive throws in this game, but down the stretch, when we needed him to produce, he struggled. Chris Mickens had a big 52-yard run early in the third quarter, but otherwise only had 15 carries for 21 yards. The run game was not consistent. Nazir Ishmael was terrific, 7 for 164 and a score. He looked like a first-round pick, but all the other receivers were quiet. Nobody else had more than 2 catches. Daniel Caffrey, the transfer from Iowa, Jack Stesko, the tight end transfer from Bowling Green State, those guys were quiet. The offensive line really struggled. I thought the defense, particularly the secondary, though, was really good. Elihu Gold was great in coverage. Smoke Lewis had an interception. Mitch Myrie had a pick 6. We really struggled up front, and I think we really missed Carmen Drake, Jensen Diglio, and Geronimo Rodriguez on the defensive line. The secondary, though, looks like it could be a major strength. Largely the same group as last year, other than the addition of Mitch Myrie in the transfer portal, replacing Darius Penny, who, of course, is now at North Carolina. We'll get to see him later in the year. Week 1, of course, was very exciting across the country with 6 top 25 matchups. I think all 6 of the teams that were favored ended up winning, so we didn't really get much chaos. We'll see if that changes today. But first, we'll focus on this matchup against Marshall, the only group of 5 team on the schedule. Marshall, of course, playing in the Sun Belt, won their first game of the year, beating Colorado State 23-14. We're the only power conference team on their schedule, so if they win this one, that could be a big resume win for them as they try to climb up the Sun Belt. They're projected to finish towards the middle of the conference standings. I think the Sun Belt is the best group of 5 conference other than the American Athletic. Looking at this Marshall roster, they've got some intriguing playmakers, particularly on the offensive side of the ball, and a very unique quarterback. Redshirt senior Simon Lichtensteiger is 6'2", 176 pounds. He is skinny. He's got a good arm. He's decently accurate. He can dance around a little bit in the pocket. Mason Days is the starting running back, 6 foot, 235, prototypical power back. He's the RB1, replacing Evan Sutton, who transferred to Alabama this offseason. Sutton was the #1 ranked running back in the portal, missed most of last year with an injury, but over the last couple of years has turned into a really good young player at Marshall. He goes to Bama, where he hopes to compete for a national title, potentially be a first or second round pick in the NFL draft. He was the only running back in the portal ranked higher than our very own Chris Mickens. MJ Meekins is their top receiver, an 89 overall senior, 6'1", 215, 97 speed. He's got NFL measurables to me, nearly 1,000 yards last year. And in week 1 against Colorado State, he had 118 yards on 7 catches. So I think this is a guy who's certainly an NFL prospect. It's not quite like last year when the group of 5 team we faced off against was James Madison with Dorian Sahara. I don't think Meekins is that good, but I certainly see him as a possible 3rd, 4th, maybe 5th round pick. The other name to watch is Marquise Ojabo. He was on Louisville last year, made a couple of plays against us. So we've got our eye on him, hoping he does not have a repeat performance. The sounds of Enter Sandman blaring can only mean one thing. Hokie football is back in Blacksburg. One of the most passionate and loudest fan bases in college football. We're trying to build them a winner. 8-5 in year 1, leaving the season on a 4-game win streak. But we start this year 0-1 with a heartbreaking loss against Texas Tech, a game that was winnable. We were up late against the reigning national champions, but the veteran experience of the Red Raiders was too much for the young Hokies. We started the year ranked, dropped out of the top 25. We're looking to make our way back in, and a win against Marshall would be a good starting point. The Hokies look to make it 1-1 going into a big road matchup next week against the Maryland Terrapins. Career start number 2 for quarterback Ace Morgan, the redshirt freshman. He'll go short. Ishmael gets a block, and Nazir Ishmael with a quick gain of 23. Ishmael was moving different against Texas Tech. I mean, he did not look like the same guy we saw as a sophomore. He looked like a guy who could be a very high NFL draft pick. At around the 50-yard line, it is a 2nd and 1. Morgan will hand it off. It's Chris Mickens. Mickens gets by a defender into the 2nd level. Mickens, whoop, breaks his ankles. He's still up. Chris Mickens, goodbye. First touchdown as a Hokie for Chris Mickens. A 49-yard score for the redshirt senior. And the Hokies march right down the field with an opening drive touchdown. Chris Mickens does not move like a normal person. I mean, his short area quickness is unbelievable. His footwork is unlike anything I've ever seen. He's not the biggest, he's not the fastest, he's not the strongest, but my golly, he can dance around and make defenders in the open field look stupid. 7-0 lead for Virginia Tech. We take our first look at Simon Lichtensteiger and the Marshall Thundering Herd. That one is caught. It's Meekins. He's the star at this show. Gets it to the 35. Now on 3rd down. With all day to throw it, Lichtensteiger runs and gets it with a spin move past the 35, eventually wrapped up by Corbin Roll. Our pass rush struggled last week against Texas Tech, and that was a really bad rep up front. Got to send pressure. There we go. The best world comes in off the blitz. We needed to make a statement with the pass rush after that horrible 3rd down earlier. But despite the loss of yardage, they got 13 right back on 2nd down. 3rd and 2. Quinn Gant loses 3. Where there's smoke, there's fire. Smoke Lewis with the TFL. He had a great week 1 at 10 tackles, shut down the top 2 receivers for Texas Tech, and grabbed a pick. 4th and 5, they'll go for it. Lichtensteiger up the middle, it's caught. Enrique Adams hauls it in. The running back lined as a receiver there with a gain of 14. Lichtensteiger, the pitch. It's Mason Days into the end zone for a touchdown. And Marshall responds. They tie it at 7 with an opening drive score. Given how good I feel like our defense played last week, not an encouraging start. Lichtensteiger was very efficient at the big 4th down throw. We'll see what we can get on offense. Here's Morgan under pressure. Ishmael does not get enough for the 1st down. Marshall gets the stop. That'll lead to a punt as the Thundering Herd get it back. Marshall starting to get a little bit of momentum. They've shown up today. That one is caught up the middle. Not enough for the 1st down, though. That's the tight end, Trayvon Folkerts. Here on the punt, we're giving Nazir Ishmael punt return duties because he's so good with the ball. Ishmael breaks a tackle. Ishmael with space. Gets a block. Tripped up at around the 50. I thought he was going to house that. Still a really nice return for Nazir Ishmael. That'll wrap up the 1st quarter, tied at 7. not our best start. I thought we looked really good on the opening drive. A couple of chunk plays from Ishmael and Chris Mickens, the 2 stars, but the defenses look shaky. The offense was a lot worse on that second drive, but we do have really good field position off the punt return. On 3rd and 7, Morgan, incomplete, wide open. It was Xavier Baker. That was a really bad throw, and that'll lead to a punt. Marshall has it back. That one is caught. A nice play by Folkerts, the tight end, his 4th catch of the game. Gets it near the 50. Marshall's driving it nicely. Another good drive for the Thundering Herd. Days is thrown down for a loss, however. It's Kawan Stewart, the freshman. We're hoping to get him more playing time after he redshirted a season ago. On 3rd down, Lichtensteiger goes short, and it's a big loss. The best in the world, living up to his name. He's been all around the backfield here in the first half. And now the Hokies have it back. Their offense has been cold. 3rd and 10. Morgan misses Adams by a lot. That was a really bad throw again. Ace Morgan has not played well so far. His accuracy's been very sporadic. Gant on 3rd and short. They will give it to him. I didn't think he got it. Another 3rd down now. Lichtensteiger looks deep for Meekins. Broken away. It's Smoke Lewis with the deflection. Another great start for Smoke Lewis. He got a lot better in the offseason and quickly is turning into one of our best players. Another 3rd down now. There's no way we get another 3 and out here, right? Morgan winds up looking down the field. It is caught! Nazir Ishmael! 65 to the house for a touchdown. And Virginia Tech regains the lead. We needed a spark offensively. Who else other than Nazir Ishmael, who's already got over 100 yards here in the first half, outruns the defender. A beautiful ball by Morgan, who's had some really impressive deep passes. I think that's one of the strengths of his game. I think he's a better deep ball thrower than the previous quarterbacks that this team has had. Clyde Poole, and then even before that with Kieran Riddle. Marshall with it back. There's a big sack. Royland Mathis, the sophomore, brings down Lichtensteiger for a loss. Mathis started the year off strong last year as a freshman, cooled off after. We need him to step up with our losses on the D-line. Lichtensteiger under pressure, hit as he throws, and he's got to get rid of it. Good job by the pass rush sending pressure there. I believe that was Emmanuel DeRougy in the backfield. Mickens with it to the Hokies with a juke move. He is lassoed down at around the 30. Nice run there by Chris Mickens. Under a minute and a half now. Morgan, he's got Jack Stesko, the tight end from Bowling Green State. I want to get him more involved. 6'6", impressive athleticism for his size. I think he can be a dangerous weapon. 3rd and goal. Mickens, he's in. Touchdown number 2 in the first half for Chris Mickens. And all of a sudden, this offense has come alive. We were asleep for the first 17 minutes of the game. But we had the big play by Ishmael, and now this drive, which was probably our most complete and well-rounded possession of the game so far, resulting in a touchdown adding to the lead. 2nd and 7, minute and change left in the half. Days loses yardage on the screen. It's Mitch Myrie, the senior, playing for his 4th different school. I think he's really going to find a home here, even if it's 1 year. On 3rd down, Lichtensteiger is smothered in the backfield by DeRougy. Hokies call time, looking to add to the lead even further. Around 30 seconds and 1 timeout. Mickens to the right side with a lot of room. Mickens out of bounds. He could have gone into the end zone, but he stops at the 3, over the 100 yards mark in the first half, running all over the Marshall defense. Under 20 seconds left, 1st and goal. Caffrey in motion. It's Cabrera, and he is stopped. The Marshall defense in the backfield. We haven't been able to say that much today. Out of timeouts, now 2nd and goal. It is caught. Ishmael high points the football. His 2nd touchdown of the first half. And Virginia Tech, who had this game tied 3 minutes ago, now leads by 21 points. And the biggest reason for our late second quarter surge is Nazir Ishmael and Chris Mickens. The 2 stars of the offense are playing like stars. And all of a sudden, we've got a comfortable lead going into the break. For Mickens, he's got 8 carries for 104 yards and 2 touchdowns. Nazir Ishmael has one-upped him. 6 catches for 107 yards and 2 touchdowns. Those 2 guys have been unstoppable. Sometimes the cream just rises to the crop, And, I mean, it's not hard to tell. Those are the two best players on the field. Morgan's numbers are quite solid, 11 of 15, 130-plus yards and 2 scores. We got to get everybody else more involved, though, through the air. Caffrey only has 2 catches. Stesko only has 1. Adams has 1. Baker has none. Even Mickens, who I want to get more involved in the passing game, he has none. It's great that Nazir Ismail's playing awesome, but we've got to get everybody else going. To start the third, Marshall opens up with the ball. Play action. Lichtensteiger under pressure. He's intercepted. Colby Cook on the return past the 20, the 15, the 10, and he's tracked down just shy of the end zone. I have no idea who Simon Lichtensteiger was trying to throw the ball to there. There was no receiver in the area. There were about 3 defensive backs, including Colby Cook. Was he trying to turn the ball over? I mean, I don't get what he was doing there at all. Lichtensteiger showed some good things in that first half, 15 of 22. Only 114 yards, though. He's trying to get the ball out quick. That time it took him a while. Nobody was open. And Colby Cook comes down with it. I believe the first interception of his career. Had a couple of fumbles for us last year. As Cabrera is in for a touchdown, and the Hokies add to the lead. It's now 35-7. Esteban Cabrera kicks down the door. The Hokies have quickly turned this into a blowout. We've scored 28 points in a 4-minute stretch. Our offense was lifeless before that. We have just completely flipped the switch. Marshall has it back. Lichtensteiger sacked again. Second of the game for Royland Mathis. He's looking a lot more like the first half of the year Mathis that we saw last year. Elite development, a guy who we are so high on. Morgan goes short. He's got Jack Stesko on third down. Here's the speed with Stesko. There are not many guys in the country with his combination of athleticism and size. 6'6". He's tall. He's got long arms. He's got a big catch radius. 2nd and 3. Asheville Virgo loses yardage. Good job by the Marshall defense. 3rd and 5. Morgan looks to throw it up the middle. It's caught. Adams, juke move. He's in. Trevor Adams, the senior, adds to the entourage for Virginia Tech, and it's 42-7. I mean, what has happened? This is an unbelievable turnaround. We went from playing horribly on offense, 3 and out after 3 and out after 3 and out, to now moving effortlessly. Ace Morgan is launching the ball around the field. The offensive line's been terrific. Here's a good run by Mason Days. Marshall just hoping for anything at this point to go their way. Now a 3rd down and 5. Lichtensteiger looks to throw it. Looking to the right side, it's overthrown. He's missed a lot of throws. He was looking really good in that first drive too, but has not been the same since. Here's Mickens. Whoop! Once I saw him one-on-one with that safety, I knew it was over. Credit to the offensive line as well, given all of that space. We know when Mickens has room to run, there are not many backs more dangerous in the country. Play action. It's a bootleg. Morgan. He's got Cabrera, and he is thrown down for a loss. We've tried to get some short bootlegs to the running backs out of the backfield on the passing game. Hasn't really worked. 2nd and 12. Morgan dances around. On the run, it's Ishmael. Breaks a tackle. Nazir Ishmael nearing the 30. He will not go down easy. Fighting for yards like a bulldozer. He's really improved after the catch. I mean, he's improved everywhere. Here's Mickens. Another juke move. Mickens! No one's in front of him. It's a hat trick. His 3rd touchdown of the game. Welcome to Virginia Tech, Chris Mickens. A welcome party here in Blacksburg for the potential All-American running back. He has had so many ridiculous juke moves today. I would hate to be a defender going against him. RPO, here's Meekins. He's been kind of quiet. Wrapped up by Mario Berkovici, the safety. We have brought in a lot of the backups now defensively, and it's kind of showing because they're starting to move down the field. Not a great rep there by Caleb Fleming, who does play a lot with the ones as well. 3rd and 10, an end-around pitch for DeNarco Reynaud. He does not get much, maybe a yard or two. A couple defenders were there. I saw the freshman linebacker, R.J. Jordan. I think Ross Daniels, the freshman defensive tackle, was there as well. Marshall will kick. Wes Stepniak. His kick is right down the middle from 46. So Marshall is back on the board after 42 points in a row by Virginia Tech. Chris Paul hits a huge 3 to cut the lead to 42. The Hokies up 49-10 with 1 quarter to go. I'm excited to see some of these backups on offense, though, including quarterback Cam Kingsbury, the true freshman, who many people in the building believe could be the long-term starter here. He'll be making his Virginia Tech debut. Play action for another freshman. It's Amir Alba. Kingsbury's first career pass is incomplete, hit while he threw it. Kingsbury's got elite development. The ceiling is really, really high for him. He is expected to redshirt this year, at least for now, as that pass is off the mark for Xavier Baker. So Marshall's got it back. They're moving the ball down the field pretty well. They've brought in a lot of the backups as well. As that one is caught, a good throw by the new quarterback, Jermaine Sizer, the junior. Inside the 10-yard line, Sizer looks to throw it, and he is sacked. Ross Daniels, first career sack for the 4-star freshman. And Marshall finds themselves with a 3rd down and 14. Sizer all by himself in the backfield looks to throw it under pressure. And it is broken away in the end zone. Could have been intercepted. In and out of the hands of Trey Masonette, the 3-star freshman safety who's unable to pick off the pass. So Marshall's going to kick the field goal again. Interesting decision down by 39, but I guess they just want to add more points. Wes Stepniak, his kick is good. Put your rally caps on, kids. Marshall is trying to make this a comeback. Virginia Tech gets it back. 6.5 to play. Asheville Virgo in motion. Kingsbury by himself in the backfield as he looks to throw it. His first completion as a Hokie goes to Virgo on the screen. He gets a few, and that'll make it a 3rd down and 2. I think Kingsbury's play style is very similar to that of Ace Morgan. Pretty solid across the board. No major traits that really pop off the page. Good first down run there. That's Amir Alba. As I mentioned in the last episode, the whole reason why I started Morgan over Kingsbury is because of his year of experience in the Clemson system. Even if Kingsbury is the higher ceiling, what a play! It's hauled in by Xavier Baker. What a great job by Kingsbury under pressure, delivering the pass to Baker, who finally catches his first pass of the season. I thought it would have been a little sooner. Here's Amir Alba with a 1st down. Alba dances around nearing the 30, doing his best Chris Mickens impersonation. 2nd and 7. High pointing the football is the redshirt freshman wide receiver, Tuzar Camper. Kingsbury now a very efficient 6 of 8, only has 36 yards though. As on 2nd and 10, he'll look to throw it. Kingsbury up the middle, it is caught. That's Baker, who's just shy of the end zone to around the 1. Baker with 2 catches when Kingsbury's in the game, but with 7 quarters of Ace Morgan, he had nothing as a regularly rotating receiver. That brings us to the 2-minute timeout, and we could try to score and add to the lead, but there's no real reason to. We can just kneel out the clock 3 times and end the game. So we'll be classy with Marshall. Why are they not doing the accelerated clock at the end of the game? Don't they normally do that when the QB kneels it? Marshall's not going to call their timeouts. They know they're going to lose. Why is the clock not going faster? If I have to wait for this, I'm going to make you guys wait too. Nonetheless, a lot to like in this game for the Hokies. 49-13 will be the final score because we're not going to run it up on these guys. We're going to be polite. They took the trip to our stadium. They are the guest. Okay, is he going to kneel the wall? This clock is moving like so slow. Any day now. There we go. Nope, still no accelerated clock. Okay, that'll make it 3rd down and goal. I liked what I saw, though, from Cam Kingsbury. I thought he had some good throws. The one play under pressure to Baker earlier on the drive, that was really, really nice. If Kingsbury can become a little bit better under pressure and a little more consistent with the accuracy, then I see how he could reach his high ceiling with that elite development traits. He is being redshirted this year, and him playing this game doesn't change that. But with Ace Morgan having a pretty short leash, Cam Kingsbury may very well get an opportunity to play a big role sooner than we expect. As with just seconds to go, the Hokies will officially wrap this one up, a 49-13 final. Improving to 1-1, we've got a tough stretch in terms of the schedule coming up, so we knew we had to win this game. And credit to the guys on the team for not looking ahead to our tough schedule of Maryland and Syracuse on the road, followed by 2 ranked opponents in the ACC. We focused on the task at hand, and we did quite well. Chris Mickens and Nazir Ishmael both looked like superstars. I think this team will go as far as those 2 guys can take them. Regardless of how the quarterback play is, Nazir Ismail and Chris Mickens are the two most important players on the team. We need them to produce, and they certainly did. It was good to see Mickens getting going after not a great week one against Texas Tech, minus the big run. Ismail, meanwhile, has just looked like on another planet. He's gotten better in every facet of the game. He looks faster, he looks bigger, he looks stronger, he's better at running routes, he's better at separating, he's better at catching, he's better after the catch. He's gotten better across the board. We beat Marshall in every major team statistical category for the most part. 16 of 20, 190 yards and 3 scores for Morgan. Did not get sacked once. The offensive line looked much better, and with him having time to throw it, he was really productive. Kingsbury was efficient as well. Didn't have as many big-time throws out of him, but still solid. 12 for 169 and 3 for Mickens. I think he will get the ball more in future games. It's just that, well, we didn't play him much in the second half. I still want to get more from these other running backs, though. It will still be a committee somewhat with Virgo and Cabrera. 7 for 131 and 2 touchdowns for Nazir Ismail. He has played amazing. Otherwise, it was very balanced, which is good and bad. It's good that we have a lot of guys who can catch the ball, but we need a number 2 receiver. I was hoping Daniel Caffrey would be that, and I think he still can be, but he hasn't been too impressive so far. O-line was great. Defense was great. Got to be more consistent with the pass rush. I know we had 4 sacks, but we've gotten no pressure from the edge rushers. As for Marshall, Scheinman Lichtensteiger, 20 of 31, 168 yards and a pick. They could not really run the ball. MJ Meekins was solid through the air. He had 5 for 48. Overall, the corners did a good job with him. Elihu Gold, I don't think I said his name once today. He was great in coverage. Smoke Lewis had a lot more splash plays. Colby Cook at the pick. Marshall's defense, not so impressive. They fall to a record of 1-1. So a good win here for the Hokies. We take care of business in week 2. We were supposed to beat Marshall by a lot, and we do. It was ugly, though, for the first 17 minutes of the game. We've got to clean that up. If we start the game like we did today against much better opponents, we're probably not going to win. We need to be a little more consistent as the game goes along. So there's a lot to clean up, but a win's a win. As we take a look at the week 2 slate, I'm curious to see how TCU tries to bounce back. They will play Texas Tech. I think the Texas-LSU game could be a good one. Hoppy Reynolds and the Tigers, Bryce Carver and the Longhorns. I think those 2 quarterbacks could be 2 of the best players at the position in the country this year. So we will start with arguably the best game of the week. The reigning champion Texas Tech Red Raiders facing off against TCU, who started the year ranked, lost in week 1, upset by Missouri. They've got to bounce back. It will not be easy with the reigning national champions. And for Texas Tech, it was much of the same that we saw in week 1. For a second consecutive game, Mark Armstrong was their best player. Another 100-yard showing for Armstrong, who has more 100-yard games this year, 2, than he had all of last year, 1. 48-24 win for the Red Raiders. Carson Mayfield was really bad. 3 interceptions, 55% completion percentage. This definitely makes me feel better about how Ace Morgan played in week 1 against Texas Tech, because Carson Mayfield's a really good quarterback. He was only sacked twice, but clearly did not do a good job with the fronts that Texas Tech had defensively. Colin Westwood, though, wasn't that good either. 2 interceptions, 53% completion percentage. He's turned the ball over 4 times already this year. He's got to be more careful with the ball. Mark Armstrong's the reason why they won. 131 yards and 2 scores. Will Sara had 99 yards. He only had 4 catches. They've got to get him the ball more. And then Elvis Phantom only had 1 reception. San Diego State and Toledo. This is a huge non-conference game because I think either one of these teams have a real chance of being the Group of 5 representative in the playoffs. So the head-to-head win would be a huge deal. San Diego State dominated. They are one of the youngest teams in the country, but it did not matter. A blowout win for the Aztecs, led by true freshman quarterback Schaefer Navarro. 41-14. The Aztecs don't really move up in the rankings, though. They're still 22. 4 touchdowns for Navarro, a really exciting player. 6'5", 200 pounds, good development trait. I think Schaefer Navarro could be one of the bright young stars of college football. His top 4 rated receivers are all true freshmen, including Hayes Brookings, who had over 100 yards. Tate Nagy, the transfer from Arkansas, was not very good. Deontay Jett was solid. We'll get to see his younger brother next week at Maryland. Missouri facing off against Georgia. 2 teams very much on the opposite end of the spectrum with week 1. Missouri with one of the big upsets of the week over TCU. Georgia decided to wear black today, and the reason is because there's a funeral here. Generally, at funerals, people wear black. Today's funeral is for the University of Missouri. Their hopes and dreams have disintegrated at the hands of the Georgia Bulldogs. Curtin Pexel, the freshman running back, one of his 3 touchdowns in this game. The Bulldogs win 66-26. Georgia reminding everyone that despite losing all those guys to the draft and losing their star quarterback and receiver to the portal, they are still here too. 3 touchdowns for Ryan Lockley, 3 for Curtin Pexel. This team looks a lot different, but they're still Georgia. They're still super talented. As for Missouri, rough loss. Really, what does this say about TCU? Because TCU lost to this team. Their offense struggled against the defense that allowed 66. Texas versus LSU at Death Valley. I think this could be the most interesting game of the week. Hoppy Reynolds leading the Tigers, the Georgia transfer, against Bryce Carver of Texas. Carver, I think, is a major breakout candidate this year. Could get some Heisman looks. Could potentially be on the radar for the NFL draft. This ended up being a really good game, but Carver and the Longhorns would win it. An incredible touchdown pass here to the junior Connor Gunter, who with a good season I think could be a pretty high pick. 28-25 despite a nice fourth quarter comeback by LSU. Reynolds, though, only completed 51% of his throws and was sacked 8 times. Hoppy Reynolds has got to be more efficient. He's got to avoid those mistakes. Given that he's already undersized as is, that's certainly going against him as an NFL prospect. So that gives him less margin for error. 4 touchdowns through the air for Carver, 2 caught by Connor Gunter. The other 2 hauled in by John Lennon. Next up, we head to Boise State. The Memphis Tigers, ranked number 25. Memphis looking really good in their opener, trying to keep it going. And I said in the last episode, if anybody dethrones USF for that Group of 5 playoff spot, I think Memphis has the best chance of doing it, and it's because of this guy. Arian Igwebuike, the sophomore quarterback, is one of the best players in the country, period. This guy is awesome. Memphis dismantles Boise State on the blue turf, 55-20. Arian Igwebuike is a superstar. Kumar Ogbanosu is not. He threw 3 interceptions, was sacked 5 times, and completed less than half of his throws. Igwebuike, though, I think is going to get some well-deserved Heisman love. 220 yards, 2 touchdowns through the air, 69% completion percentage. Nice. But he was really at his best as a runner. 23 carries, 188 yards, and 3 touchdowns. He is a true dual threat. He's got good size, good athleticism. As a redshirt sophomore, I'm curious to see what he does at the end of the year. Does he go back to Memphis? Does he go in the portal? Does he go to the NFL draft? I think NFL teams are going to really like his skill set. Boston College heads to Oklahoma State. A new era for the Cowboys. They lost a lot of pieces on offense. They've got a new, shiny new toy at quarterback. The guys in this program love sophomore Sina Ticonderoga. However, the hype train appears to have crashed. Bowling Green walks into Stillwater and upsets the Cowboys. Maybe the biggest and most consequential upset of the year so far. 27-24. Rasheed Stewart with 3 touchdowns. When we talked about Bowling Green last year, I was really impressed with Stewart. And we'll get to see where this team really is at. They play against Ohio State next week, number 1. As for Oklahoma State, Sina Ticonderoga's debut was fine. I mean, he wasn't bad. I wouldn't say he lit the world on fire, but I don't think he was bad either. As we take a look at some other scores, SMU puts up 62, although Tyree Wells has had back-to-back kind of not great games. He's missed a lot of throws. Danny Love for Alabama has been great. We'll get to see them against a somewhat real team for the first time next week. They play A&M. Good win for Stanford. Good win for Oklahoma. Ole Miss puts up a 70-piece. Galeo Barron played really well. Penn State puts up 59. Their true freshman quarterback, Bugs Vitelli, continues to look good. In the ACC, Virginia having trouble with an FCS opponent, but they do win. They're 2-0. Georgia Tech over Southern Miss. I thought both of those teams would look a little bit better to start the year. North Carolina with a win. NC State, Pitt. Pretty good week overall for our conference. A lot of games across the country this week were FCS games. And unfortunately, for those of you who love chaos, there weren't any crazy upsets. James Madison beats UCLA. Iowa beats Iowa State. Arizona with a close win. And then that's pretty much it because everybody played a bunch of scrubs and nobodies. Let's take a look at our rankings, and we'll take a look at the Heisman ballot. I think we're going to see a lot of movement for the first time in the Heisman race. Not too much change with the top 25 poll. The top 10 remains exactly the same. Oklahoma State takes a nosedive to number 24. Virginia Tech, meanwhile, is getting votes. We are the 3rd team out of the ranking, and with a good performance this week, who knows, maybe we move back in. D'Angelo Butler and Dwayne Rhodes win the Players of the Week. In the ACC, Parker Zasco has been the top SMU receiver so far, joined by Emmanuel Ugokwe. As I suspected, plenty of movement on the Heisman watch. Denny Love of Alabama is in first. Ariane Igwebuike, I'm happy to see him in second with how good he's been. Zasco in third. Dragan Brankovic, the Stanford receiver, in fourth. And then Amir Anthony. I think he's going to have a huge year for Alabama with Denny Love. He is in fifth. Another tough game for Texas Tech next week. They've got Arizona State, Ole Miss, Florida, Clemson, Oklahoma. Some good matchups. I don't know why Temple and USC is there, though. I'm not sure what the allure with Temple is. So we've got Maryland in the next episode. The Terps are 1-1. They're kind of a geographic rival in a way, obviously a neighboring state. They lost their first game of the year to Akron, beat an FCS opponent in week 1, and had a bye week last week, so they'll be pretty well rested going into this game. They've got a pretty easy schedule up until their bye week, so if they beat us, they could really go into that second stretch of the year with only one loss, and who knows, maybe some blind optimism to chase for the playoffs. Obviously, they would have to beat some really good teams along the way. They are a very young roster. Their highest rated player is a freshman. They've got some really, really good long-term prospects, though, for the NFL. This feels like a really important game for us, given that Miami and Clemson are right on the horizon. If we lose this game, we could really fall behind in the standings, which would certainly not be good. Again, that'll be in the next episode. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like. Make sure to subscribe if you're new. Make sure to hype the video. Peace out.